think when I'm really able to get out there, whether it's like a technical mountain range or like a high route or something like that, I feel like there are so many unknowns, and a lot of those end up being internal. Being forced to face that is a really cool experience. Growing up as Japanese Americans, Kelsey and I often felt that we didn't belong out there. I remember as kids searching for role models, someone we could resonate with, someone who looked like us, just someone we could, take after.
We would see a lot of people on the trail and they'd be carrying this like elaborate setup of gear and rope, and we would get home hours later and look up like where they could have gone and what kind of skills we would need to get there.
The goal was like to somehow find that mentor in someone. And that can be challenging just because where do you look?
I first heard of Kelsey at a climbing shop. She was described as this tiny girl who would wake up at 4 a.m. every morning and crush mountains before work. And right away I was like, oh my gosh, I have to meet that girl. Like, what is she up to? I want to be friends with her. About a week after meeting Kelsey, I found out she had a twin sister. And I think we went on like one adventure together and kind of just hit it off.
Traverse on a list of high routes in Washington and being super intrigued. It was this chance to explore this part of Washington we knew nothing about, yet it was right out our back door.
The Bailey Range Traverse is a 60-mile high route in Washington's Olympic National Park. It starts and ends in an old-growth rainforest and traverses a bunch of glaciers and ridgelines. And it's super cool because it's like this culmination of everything that Brigette and I want to do growing up.
I remember when Kelsey and I were trying to get into glacier travel, like it was our dream to climb Washington's volcanoes. And I remember being really surprised at how many barriers stood between us and this goal. We desperately just wanted that mentor, someone to show us the ropes.
We would get like strange looks on the trails. People would comment like, yeah, where are your parents? Like, do you guys know what you're doing? Are you sure you should be up here? And we're like, yeah.
We were just like two smaller Asian girls. So I think that like to most people it looked like we didn't belong out there or we didn't know what we were doing.
Getting outdoors is this weird paradox. People make it really clear that you shouldn't be out there alone without experience. Yet, if you don't have experience, no one will take you.
Eventually, Kelsey and I just started relying on each other for support.
We became like self-sufficient after that. There were so many times growing up that all we wanted was for someone to take us out and show us the ropes. Mentors are hard to come by, and I think that it's not hard to recognize when someone wants to get into something, when someone has an interest and a drive. We all have time to give the gift of our knowledge and experience.
I'd only known the twins for a few days when they invited me on my first ever climbing trip. I was so stoked. And I remember we were talking on the phone and they asked me if I had an ATC. And I asked what an ATC was. And it turns out you do not ask that to someone who is taking you on a climbing trip. And I remember hearing their friend in the background kind of like smirking at me or asking, who is this guy or why are we taking him? And they just shrugged it off and took me anyway. And I was really grateful for that. And they were my mentors.
There's so much more to getting outside than that next peak or objective. And being able to share that experience with others makes this whole thing worthwhile.
On the last night of the Traverse, we were camping on this gravel bar by the Hoh River, and it was kind of this perfect full circle moment. We were back in the rainforest where we started and surrounded by this glacial melt from mountains we had traversed just days before. It was kind of this perfect moment to stop and reflect on how privileged we were to be traversing these mountains just for fun and just to, feel things outside. These experiences and these chances to get out there are moments that I will forever be pursuing and forever be grateful for. And it's my goal to ensure that everyone else is able to do the same.